Tēnā koutou katoa, morena and namaste. It's a privilege to be invited to discuss a topic that I am deeply passionate about. New technology, innovation, a connected mobility ecosystem, decarbonising an economy and providing mobility for all. So it's an honour to be here today to talk about the future of Auckland, not COVID, not lockdowns, not disrupted supply chains, but the future. I'll worry about all of that stuff in a few hours, and I should apologise that if you're waiting for your Toyota and it's been a few months, I apologise to you for that. You'll hear this morning that we are as passionate about cars as we are about new technology, new opportunities, and how they impact cities of the future. What some of you may not be aware is that Toyota is actually building a city of the future, which I'll share more details about shortly. A connected ecosystem requires a range of technology and solutions, not just those that people are familiar with or are currently in market. Collectively, we have a unique opportunity to create our own legacy in New Zealand, and that starts in this room today. The only hurdle in our way is our own fears or prejudice. We are staring down transformative trends, not just incremental steps. So we need to make sure that we take full advantage of them at speed. The catalyst for this transformation is climate change. Last week, I applauded the government for presenting our most aggressive plan to address the climate crisis. As Minister Shaw implied or stated, we are 30 years late to the start line, but we are well underway. Is it perfect? No. But it's all about momentum. And as leaders, it's our job now to work it out. For the past few weeks, I've received feedback, mostly positive, about our passion for hydrogen technology. I've also addressed the negative feedback on why Toyota is pursuing this opportunity. And it was an honour to join the Prime Minister for her first trade mission to Japan post-COVID to advance this hydrogen opportunity. The focus for Toyota is not about delivering a hydrogen solution for cars. It's about providing our fuel cell technology to help decarbonise New Zealand through innovation in all sectors, including automotive. Hydrogen is an alternative energy that could help cities and countries become more sustainable and partner with other technologies like electrification for our light vehicle fleet. The ambition is massive, and we believe that we could support this transition. Our vision, though, expands beyond manufacturing cars. Our belief that the future of mobility is about giving people the freedom to move and leaving no customer behind. The freedom to move and leave no customer behind. In this vision, there is no single solution when it comes to powertrains or technology. This vision also aligns with how cities of the future will be designed and connected, and we want to introduce these innovations to our very own cities across Aotearoa. The way we see it, the future of mobility is about connectivity, intermodal transport infrastructure, and micro-mobility. Think of micro-mobility as a single-seater, full battery electric car. And I'll show you how one of these operates in the streets of Europe in my video shortly. I feel our objective today in this room is to provoke our traditional thinking, and we've certainly had that with our speakers this morning. So with your permission, I'd like to be a little provocative. Is spending billions of dollars on cycleways for large cities a good idea? It might be. Or the idea could be bigger than that. We have an aging population and traditional bicycles are less practical. It's actually one of the reasons why we've seen the rise of e-bikes so quickly. But e-bikes may also be seen as a transition to micro-mobility, or as an affordable transition away from more expensive cars or buses. Instead, we see a future in Auckland where Toyota's single-seater, fully electric mobility scooters could be used to run errands like trips to the supermarket, pharmacy, providing superior wet weather protection and safe handling. These micro-mobility devices, safer than a scooter, may also be fully autonomous. So they won't allow you to pick them up and throw them into the harbour after you've had a few drinks on a Friday night, or they won't run over a pedestrian. If we choose to invest in cycleways, let's make sure that they are scalable for the future for this type of technology. This just transition also applies to charging electric vehicles today. Are we investing in the right solutions for future technology? Fast charging degrades a lithium-ion battery, which ultimately reduces the life of your product. And I'm sure we've all experienced that by fast charging our cell phones and then wondering why the battery life has diminished over the previous model. Investing in the right technology is critical in designing a city of the future. About 12 years ago, Toyota New Zealand requested that Toyota Motor Corporation trial some of these new innovations as part of the Christchurch rebuild. Given that we've been developing solutions for how machines and humans could safely coexist for a long time. The decision back then was made to build our own city in Japan, and the platform to test these concepts in a living laboratory, which we've called Woven City. So as we ramp up our focus on electrification, our passion also extends to understanding how autonomous technology and car sharing can play a significant role in not just lowering congestion, but decarbonising an economy. We need to think more about how cities of the future will be designed and wired, and how will we create an ecosystem that allows the people and services with the freedom to move in the most efficient and the most easy and the most sustainable way. Toyota builds roughly 10 million vehicles per year globally. So we have the scale to make an impact on the world, and that's not just through cars. Woven City is probably the most advanced test track for a mobility company in the world. The dream is ambitious, and I'd like to show you now a brief video on just what this incredible project is uncovering.
In a land of mountains, Mount Fuji rises above them all, a sacred and powerful symbol of Japan's quest for harmony and happiness. A mountain that will soon serve as the dramatic backdrop for a new symbol of the future, the Toyota Woven City.
Hello, I'm Akio Toyoda. A little over a year ago, I was standing on stage in Las Vegas at CES, telling the world about a project we call Woven City. Our dream was to create a place where people live, work, and play in a real-world living laboratory. A place where researchers, engineers, and scientists from around the world could come together to test and develop new technologies such as autonomy, robotics, AI, and more. Well, today, I'm happy to announce that our dream is well on its way to coming true because we just broke ground on the Woven City site at the base of Mount Fuji. This groundbreaking marks a very special new chapter in our story, in our industry, and in our future.
There are very few chances in one's life to work on a project of this scale and with this ambition.
For an architect, you would like to find yourself involved in meaningful projects that make a difference. This was not just, we have some land available because we're moving some factories around. What should we do with it? No, it was much more deeply rooted in the vision of what kind of a company Toyota is and what kind of a company Toyota can become.
Woven City has 3 principles, which is human-centered, living laboratory, and ever-evolving. The exciting aspect of living laboratory inside Woven City is that we could have an opportunity to accelerate new products and development, and maybe not just for Toyota.
By inviting researchers and scientists into this living laboratory, we hope to be able to partner and learn what kinds of technologies can be practically deployed and also the kinds of technologies that people enjoy and want.
Akio has the humility to say that this is not something we're doing to show the world how great Toyota is. This is something we're doing because we want to make discoveries, and we have to make those discoveries in partnership with other companies.
I believe that with the Woven City, we can hopefully contribute something really meaningful.
So as you heard in that video, we broke ground in February 2021. Construction on 175 acres at the base of Mount Fuji. Ironically, it was built on a former manufacturing plant for internal combustion cars. It was closed in 2020. The advantage of Woven City is that we can test technologies at speed and scale. The key word there is speed. Some of the world's best engineers, researchers, technologists, and innovators will be testing autonomous technology, automated package deliveries, clean energy systems, and you could see on that video that robotics is a key strategy for helping the elderly be mobile. The city energy systems will be powered by clean energy, solar, hydrogen, and geothermal. Woven City is not intended to be, as you heard in that video, a Toyota-only test track, but we're partnering with many other companies to test new ideas. In that video, you also heard that we're weaving a new urban fabric from many strands under 3 key guiding principles. One that Sir Peter mentioned in his video this morning, which is around being human-centered, which focuses on the respect and the prioritization of people's needs and preferences. You heard the word living laboratory, which enables us seamless real-world testing of new technology. And ever-evolving is a realization that technology and services will continually grow and improve. So when it comes to testing new transport technologies, we also want to ensure that safety is achieved through the lens of not just the car, but also the roads that they're driven on, and also the engagement with people. We don't believe that testing new technology in the car parks in a US car park mall is a good idea. We've lifted the safety standards across our entire lineup to allow customers an opportunity to experience new autonomous technology. So if you have a car with radar cruise control, that's not unintended acceleration, but it's designed to help educate you as we move towards autonomy in the future. The challenge as we increase safety is that these advanced safety features are expensive. We need to continue to focus our efforts on lowering road deaths, because as we have seen, and we heard this morning on News Hub, that the technology disruption could be a significant factor beyond alcohol and speed in the future. Cities of the future need to be fully connected to funnel massive amounts of data to and from the vehicle or the device that you're using. Mobile data, or the speed of mobile data, could be the new gold in the future, as it's going to transform our landscape as we know it today. Modern cities aren't set up this way. Sensors and cameras need to be incorporated into the design of future cities, which introduces new challenges like we heard this morning around privacy. However, this advanced ecosystem allows us to develop infrastructure that delivers safer and more integrated systems. Some of you might be thinking, well, that's all very nice for Toyota in Japan, but what's the relevance to the future of Auckland? Well, as the city grows and congestion reaches critical level, we cannot look at transport or freight in sector silos. We need the public and the private sector collaborating to create an effective ecosystem. My message at the Hydrogen Summit in Wellington 2 weeks ago was that we need to be more ambitious, especially when the private sector is highly motivated and the technology, as you can see, is on the cusp of delivering incredible value. I have a passion to bring some of these innovations at Woven City to New Zealand, and they have relevance in Auckland and other cities throughout our country. Like the fuel cell technology that's on display at Emirates Team New Zealand, we have a hydrogen-powered, the first boat built ever in the world powered by hydrogen, built here in New Zealand. And we also announced 3 weeks ago, our hydrogen car share initiative, which will be operating in the inner Auckland city precinct. Both of these initiatives are delivering tremendous economic return for the city of Auckland and helping pave a way for a future connected system. The challenge for New Zealand is finding and investing in the right initiatives to accelerate this type of technology or this type of ambition. Equally important is mutual respect and understanding between the public and the private sector that decarbonisation can be achieved in many different ways. So thank you for the opportunity to share this case study with you this morning. I look forward to answering some of your questions. Nō reira, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa.
Thank you very much, Neeraj, and I'll give you that one here. Just a couple of quick questions for you, and there's some questions coming through too. In the meantime, just is New Zealand, and I guess specifically Auckland, considered a good place to come and test those kinds of technologies? And if not, what can we do to make the city a more attractive place to come and test those things?
Well, we're testing the technologies now.
We're not a woven city, though.
No, we're not. No, we're not. But Woven City works because it's a closed test track.
Yeah.
You know, like my comment around, there's been cases where you've tried to test technology in car parks in the US, and the technology hasn't worked, and it's killed people.
Yeah.
But when I say passionate about bringing the technology to Auckland or New Zealand, is it's unheard of that Toyota in Japan would offer fuel cell technology that we use at Woven City to Toyota New Zealand. They wouldn't provide a component of their secret sauce so that New Zealand engineers could play with it to fit it to a boat, and that's what's sailing around the Waitemata Harbour at the moment.
Yeah.
So it's about taking opportunities like those and introducing them where they're relevant.
Yeah. A question on Slido. Toyota's commitment to micro-mobility is impressive, but how does it align with the industry's drive to flood the world with large EVs?
I can see why that question was anonymous. It's a really interesting question because it's such a complex area, and it was a discussion we shared with the Prime Minister in Japan that there's a big challenge to flood the world with large EVs, and it's purely from an availability perspective. Lithium ion is a scarce resource and it's expensive, and so it's not going to be easy to flood the world with large EVs at speed. So they will come in at a graduated level of availability. And so our challenge now with our strong direction in terms of our emission standards, that has opened the door for us to put our hands up for that limited availability to be made available in New Zealand. The question is, how affordable is it going to be for most Kiwis? So that single-seater micro-mobility device that we actually had on display in Auckland at America's Cup time, that's about $55,000.
Right.
But that's not unusual. New technology is expensive when it comes in.
You're not going to get that for a trade-in with your 2000 car, are you?
No, you're not. But you may not sell it. The key is to make it, mobility accessible. So you don't have to purchase it. So there could be other ways. So that's the collaboration that needs to take place.
Okay, another one from Slido. In the 1960s, General Motors persuaded the world to rip up tram tracks and to build motorways. Can we trust a motor company to lead the design on our future cities?
So the short answer to that is no. And the reason why Woven City's been created is that it's been created with a huge number of partners. So all the world's biggest companies, INEOS is providing hydrogen, Microsoft are in there. There are huge companies experimenting and designing and developing. So it's, as I mentioned earlier, this is not a test track for Toyota, it's a test track to test new technology and innovation. It's a lab.
One more quick one, because unfortunately we're running out of time, but is the Woven City an idea, and I guess probably not just Woven City, but all this technology we're talking about? Is it an idea for the rich? How will equity be woven in?
Yeah, exactly. So when I mention access to mobility
Yeah.
and leave no customer behind, that is our biggest concern on the current pathway and the acceleration that we're trying to achieve through our emission standards.
Right.
The danger is that we leave customers behind through affordability. This technology, if you take hybrids, we introduced hybrids more than 25 years ago. They have just reached price parity today. So I don't think that's going to take that long for EVs to be affordable, but there'll be new models for access to mobility that will make mobility easily accessible to everybody without having to feel like you've got to own it.
Are you saying the plan is flawed or too
No,
early? It's not achievable?
No, not flawed. We saw in the emissions reduction plan last week that there's a huge investment in car share initiatives. And we're quite excited by that. We're going to announce something with Arkina, who's in the room here today, on Thursday, around a car share initiative in South Auckland. I think these sorts of initiatives will start to not just percolate, but come to fruition over the next sort of coming months.
Sounds like they might have to. Neeraj Lala, CEO of Toyota New Zealand. There were lots more questions. I'm sorry we can't get to them all, but appreciate your time this morning.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Fascinating.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.